everyone, welcome to Nina Cucina. In today's cooking lesson, I am going to teach you how to make my salmon burgers with cucumber mint relish. Now they are super easy to make. I've got here some wild Alaskan salmon. This is king salmon, that's a Chinook salmon. There are dozens of different kinds and that just happens to be my favorite. I have simply just cubed it up, and you can actually buy a whole fillet and use all the trimmings of the fillet for your salmon burger. So you don't have to use those perfect center pieces. You can just use all the end stuff and it comes out just fine. Now I'm going to start by putting a lot of this into the food processor. I'm going to take about half and I'm going to just about puree it. So let's drop those right in, those chunks, and on it goes. Now I've got almost a puree here. This is how we're grinding up the salmon for our burgers. Now you're going to notice I'm going to put my finger right in the center so I can hold this blade in so it doesn't go tumbling into my bowl. And I'm just going to scrape that yummy and beautifully colored salmon right into my mixing bowl. Now I'm going to take the rest of my salmon chunks and I'm going to pop them into my food processor as well. Except this time, I'm going to use the pulse button because I just want it to have a little bit of extra chunk. Now you want to keep a close eye on that so you don't puree it as well. Now it looks like I just need maybe 2 more touches. Perfect. That is going to go into the bowl as well. Now to my bowl, I'm also going to add about a 1/4 cup of fresh chopped basil. Into the bowl it goes. Now I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of capers. Now that is about 4 or 5 forkfuls right out of the jar. And I'm going to give them also just a little bit of a chop. Just going to go ahead and scrape those right into my bowl. I'm going to add about 1 medium onion, one of my little secret ingredients. This is wasabi powder. This is going to give it just a little bit of kick. And it goes. Now, salt. My friend Mary at Savory Spice turned me on to black truffle salt and I just can't get enough of it. And salmon is such a meaty fish, I thought I would add truffle salt to it instead of my regular sea salt. I'm going to give this a stir together. I'm going to start with my trusty spatula, my brand new spatula actually. I went over to Best Buy Restaurant Supply. I'm just discovering this store and I went crazy. Now you want to turn this over and over and over really well so you get everything mixed in thoroughly. Okay, let's get our hands dirty. Now, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that 2 of my favorite words are portion control. So I'm going to show you how I do it. We're going to make about 5-ounce burgers here, 5 to 6, depending on the guy's size. And this is how I do it so nobody overeats. Now, if you put an 8-ounce hamburger of any sort in front of a hungry man, he is going to eat it all. And he is never going to know the difference if you're serving him 8 ounces or 6 ounces, believe me. So what I do is I get out my trusty food scale. Everyone should have one. And you just simply weigh it out. But that's about 4 3/4, so I'm pretty close. I'm just going to add just a little bit more and give this burger a nice shape. Now there is nothing wrong with the size of that burger. And it's filled with heart-healthy omega-3s. So let's do the rest. Now I'm going to just pop these in the refrigerator, covered with plastic wrap, give my hands a wash, and we'll get started on the cucumber mint relish. Okay, now let's get started with my cucumber mint relish. Now this relish is my version of any relish that you would put on any burger. Most relish has a ton of funky ingredients in it. Sweet relish, corn syrup, for example. Well, that's not allowed in this house, so I make my own version. We're going to start with about a 12-inch English cucumber. That is one of the cucumbers that's seedless. You usually find them in your produce section wrapped in plastic. I'm just going to slice them long ways like this because I want a nice fine dice. And I cut it in half to give myself just a little bit more control. Long strips first. And we're just going to make little itty bitty chunks. And I'm just going to pop it right into my mixing bowl. Now, one of my secret ingredients, a little bit of lime. First, we're going to start with the zest. I'm just going to zest this lime right into the bowl. Now I'm just going to cut this lime in half, and we're going to juice it right into the bowl. Get yourself one of these handy juicers. They're great for this kind of thing, and making cocktails, of course. Now, about a tablespoon of white balsamic vinegar. You could also use a rice vinegar, but you know, I have here from All of a Sudden a white balsamic that's honey and ginger. Now this, oh, you can just smell the ginger, you can smell the honey. I just can't resist it. So I decided that I would do this time. Just toss it right on in there. I want just a little bit of sea salt. About a half teaspoon, and some chopped red onion. Now that's just going to give it a nice color boost to it. I like a little bit of kick, so I'm going to add just about 1/8 of a teaspoon of chipotle. I don't want to use too much. I love hot, but my husband, not so much. He doesn't prefer it, so I'm making a compromise here. And now for the mint. Mint is nice and fresh, and it is going to really complement the kick of that chipotle. And just slice right through it. It just makes the whole kitchen smell fresh. Okay, now let's give this a good stir. Just turning the ingredients over and over. You're going to be able to smell that lime and that balsamic. I'm just going to add a little bit of oil. You can use either olive or grapeseed for this. Really, with a cast iron skillet, you don't even need oil. I just happen to like the flavor of a little olive oil in the bottom of the pan. You want to leave them alone for a while and just let the bottom of those burgers brown beautifully. Now you're going to know that your burgers are ready to turn when you see a little bit of opaque coming up the side of the burger. Just give them a flip. And they're nice and golden and caramelized from all the onions. They're just going to be superb. Now these look done, so I am just going to pop them out onto a couple of plates. Now I've got my beautiful cucumber mint relish here, and just like you would on any other burger, let's put a little bit on top. Now I'm going to put it just on one side so you can see the pretty color of that salmon. See, I'm always sneaking veggies into the meal. Know what I say, a pound of produce per person per day, minimum. Now that is a delicious burger. My salmon burgers with cucumber mint relish. Healthy, hearty, and delicious. Thanks for joining me today at Nina Cucina. I'll see you next time.